Hey there, how you doing? Right, I just thought I would just do this quick video. Bit of a funny one here. Now, a couple of weeks ago, one of the people on the Facebook group, which is it's quite a large group now, and it's not used very often. I don't get on there very often. I don't like to do things on there, but anyway, like David, who you're going to hear in a video now that I interviewed. He put up a post, a strange post, and which when it said there, that he had had a Peter Wilson trust, is what he called it. I've never spoke to this guy before this time, ever. I never met him, never done anything with him at all. I emailed maybe once or twice. I asked about this actually because he was asking about a void order in France, which was nothing to do with private trusts or anything. And then he put this post up, which I allowed, I'll admit, because I wanted to ask him about it. So he said, that he had lost everything, and something along those lines. And I thought, what's a bit of a strange thing to say? So I mean, obviously I'm admin on there. I could have just stopped it going up, but I wanted to put it up, and so I could ask him about it. So I put it up there so I could ask him about it. Hence, we'll have this video together now. And but obviously the shills that are in the group, and the idiots that are in the group go running off there, and rather than actually ask the guy questions themselves about what does that mean, start making up stories about what it means, and telling lies about what it means. That was a bit funny, but you got to expect these people, like that the mentality of them, and they're full of entities that they're guiding their totally misguided lives. But anyway, so like this David, he's trying his best. He's like, trying to learn how to do things. But this is a thing about any subject, all right, where it states, well, recently in a court case, when I was in court as a Mackenzie friend, and the judge said to somebody, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Now, we tried to get David to come on our weekly PMA, but his battery died or something. So he was on, but his battery died, so we didn't really get much chance to chat, unfortunately. We'll try it again later, because we want to try and get him a bit of help, and maybe a bit more education on to create the trusts, etc. But anyway, and I told a story about, like, when I was just young, I was in the HMS Cambridge, a gunnery training establishment, shore establishment in Devon. We were training on the small arms, which was the rifles, which was an SLR rifle, 7.62 millimeter, and then also the 9mm submachine gun. Now, the 9mm submachine guns were made in the Second World War, in the 40s, all of them. In fact, the last gun that I fired, for the Royal Navy, which was a big, what they called a Boffer, a 40mm shells, was made in 1945. It had written on the side of it, and to move it around there to find a target, you used to have to wind a handle, and make it the barrel go up and down. It was another handle. So very modern. But anyway, we'll learn how to use these submachine guns with Browning 9mm submachine gun that has a fixed firing pin. They used to call them Sten guns. Okay, now on the submachine gun, the 9mm rounds will go on the side. So the magazine sticks out on the side. You can't hold on to the magazine, right? I've seen a few films where they were holding on to the magazine. You can't do that, all right, in the movies, right? It's not real. So, but you've got a hold of it correctly. And anyway, it's got 30 rounds of 9mm bullets in the magazine. And it has, like, it's a fixed firing pin. And the trainer was trying to explain that you don't pull it back with the palm of your hand, pull it back like that, like he said that you see in the movies. You know, you have to hold it with this part of your finger to pull back the cocking mechanism that it's ready to fire. If you pull it back with the palm of your hand here, it has a likelihood to slip, and because it's a fixed firing pin, it will start to fire immediately without your control. So I'm like thinking, you know, 16, 17-year-old, whatever I was at the time, can't remember, but very young teenager, and I thought, this is fine, no problem. And I had pulled it back with the palm of my hand, and it did slip, and the bullets did start to fire, and I didn't have proper control of the weapon, and the bullets were flying all over the place, and the gun ended up pointing down at the ground, firing, and they were getting closer and closer and closer to my feet, and it only just stopped shooting my feet off because it ran out of the 30 bullets that were in the magazine, you know. So listen to others. A little knowledge of things can be a very dangerous thing, especially if you end up nearly shooting your feet off. You know, but there you go. So this is a lot of what has gone on is basically, you know, like everyone has to learn, and I'm there to actually help others, and I'll never ever stop studying as well. And it's just a bit of a shame that outside influences will always try and cause trouble by, you know, using others, like, you know, which were unfortunate. Now, as it comes in, we're dealing, David here is dealing with something that's lasted, this has gone on for 2 years, this thing. And the trust that he created, right, he does not own the property, he was just renting the property, so he hasn't actually lost anything, you know. But the thing is, the trust was created way after the event had started. You can't do that, you know, it'll never work. So, you know, like I say, there's a lot to learn on these things, but people ran off with this and created this huge story about public and private and ridiculousness and everything like that. You know, at the end of the day, we have a network of professional trust experts that we deal with when we travel around the country and meet with these people who've been financial experts and trust experts and have been working in that field for like 30, 40 years, some of them. So we use them for their advice. We have access to barristers that can create trusts for multimillionaires that will set them up offshore. We have various levels of different trusts that we can use and we have access to. We have trusts that are created purely to assist you going through a bankruptcy so that the properties are protected and the receivers. And, you know, we've got proof that we have beaten receivers and courts hands down, and they can't take what they think is the assets because the assets have been removed from the estate. It's only an estate that can actually go bankrupt. You can't. Only an estate, your estate can, which is the same as getting taxed. Only an estate can be taxed, inheritance tax or, you know, any other type of tax. The estate gets taxed, not you. All right. So this is what we do. We use experts to assist us in removing assets from your estate and having them protected. That's what a trust is about, the Asset Protection Trust. And it works very well. And we have proof of it working with various clients on a regular basis that these experts have assisted us with to remove assets from people's estates. And then the official receivers, the courts, they just can't touch them. All right. And they're in a private trust. Now, I'm not going to go on too long about the private trust, and we don't want to give away too many of our secrets either, you know, because the more that we find out, a lot of other people do actually tell a lot of fibs, shall we say. So anyway, I want to just show, you know, we're asking David a few questions, and, you know, so he can answer them himself and see what that post was about. And certainly show that it was not anything that I had created for him or anyone else. He certainly did not donate to myself or even to anyone else for that matter. He just created all of this himself. He actually just wrote a letter to himself, which is great. and did an expression or posted it to himself to create what was a private trust. But, it has to be all of the correct timing. It has to be all of the correct setup. You can't just do it in the middle of an event. Okay, it has to be before the event started. Same thing if you're trying to do asset protection and you're trying to protect your family's assets, right? So that they cannot be taken into account for a third-party assessment like counsel for care fees. You can't do it once the care fees have been asked for or once someone's been sectioned to be put in a home. It's far too late. You need to do it now, years and years and years before any events happen, so that then you can show and prove that you're actually just protecting your private assets for your family's future, that you're not trying to avoid the council taking the care fees from your home. All right, it's just protecting your assets, but you've got to do it well in advance. All right, so bear that in mind, and obviously when you see this video there for David. All right, on with the rest of the video.
He now thinks that the property and the trust is his to do what he wants with, and I'm saying no. Hang on, it's a trust, and you can't trespass.
Okay, I just think you're getting a bit confused about a few different sort of aspects of it. So when did you actually create your trust? When did you do it?
It was on the 6th of April 2022.
Okay. So so you've actually created that yourself, yes?
Yeah, well, you guided me through it and showed me what to do. Basically, you said write a letter to express your interest in it and post it to yourself, registered, and get it witnessed. Yeah, and so I got that, and then I put it into the local paper that the creation of a trust has been created for this address.
Okay, well, so you didn't have any paperwork from me or anything like that. You just sort of wrote a letter and expressed it like that way, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then later on, you sent me your creation of
the certificate just to show you'd created the trust, yeah?
And the statement of interest.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, just to try and support what you'd already done. Okay, it's just because, obviously, well, not obviously, but what's happened as well, just so you know, right, that there is some people that have picked up on the story and are using you as, I don't really know, but that they're trying to make the story out to be something that it isn't. So I mean, you didn't pay for that trust, or did you? You didn't give any money to anybody for that, did you?
No, definitely not.
You just
Well, the only money I laid out really was for the paper, for the communications, and for the publishing in the local paper.
Yeah, but you didn't pay anybody, including me, to actually go out and create what anyone would call a private trust or a public trust or a statutory trust or any trust at all.
No. It was just an express trust. I called it an intangible interest trust.
An intangible interest trust, is that what you called it?
Yeah, because or basically an ITC trust.
Okay, yeah? I've never heard of that before.
Because I mean, it's not tangible. Well, it's not the bricks and mortar; it's the space.
Okay, well, the thing is, it's not the space either, right? Just so that I'll give you an idea, all right? That if you're doing something like that, intangible is correct. I've never heard it called an intangible interest trust, although that's probably a good way of explaining things, because
I think that's probably what you called it 2 years ago.
Really? I don't think so. I've never heard of that term before. But you are expressing your interest in the trust. That's the way that I actually got taught it, is if you have an interest in a thing, right? Now, if you go on and look at sort of like the definition of property, Black's law and things like that, then anything can be a property. So your interest in a property, your thing is first of all, you live there. That is a thing.
Yeah.
That is what you can put your interest in, but you can't call it the space, and you can't, I mean, it's completely literally intangible. You can only hold it in your spirit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The way I wrote it was, everything I've done to maintain it, all the relationships I've built up, that is my interest in the
Okay.
address.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like it is what it is. And I get what you're saying completely, but I mean, you can't say the space is mine. It can only be your mind and your spirit, if that makes sense, because you
Okay.
you created a home, so you live there, so you've painted it, you've decorated it, so that is your interest in the actual property. Now, that to me would still count as like a private trust, or not, just not private, it doesn't matter about that, but a trust. Now, just remind me, who was the settlor? Would have been you then, was it?
Yeah, I'm the settler. Yeah.
Okay, so you created the trust. Now, if I recall, you don't have to give us his name, because I'm pretty sure you said he wanted to keep quiet because he's also renting off the same landlord. He doesn't want to get into trouble. But you used a neighbor as a trustee, is that correct?
No, no. The witness to the the trust document, the original trust document that I posted to myself, he was the neighbor. Yes. The the um the trustee is an old guy that I've known for about 4 years, and he's on the church council and everything, and we've been sort of working together on YouTube for about 3 years. So
Oh, okay. So obviously you're the settler because you created it. That
that's right.
obviously there's no
Yeah,
argument in that then. So the trustee is just like an old friend from the church, and you've been
yeah,
working on YouTube, but it's a separate trustee, it wasn't you. Yes?
that's right.
Good, good, good. And so obviously a witness could be anybody. So you used a neighbor, could have been the postman, could have been the window cleaner. Fine.
That's right.
Doesn't matter. You had an independent witness though, yes?
Yeah,
Okay. And then the beneficiary was obviously yourself, as in
that's
you're
right.
going to
Yeah,
be benefiting from your interest in living in the actual property.
that's right. Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Right. So you didn't have a limited company or anything like that working for you, or you didn't create a limited
No, no,
company
no.
dormant or otherwise.
No, the only thing I had was that YouTube uh, channel, and the um, I set up an academy online, and that's that's part of the trust. And what I've
Yeah,
done
but
is
that's just your so really like what you're saying is the your interest in your YouTube channel is also in the trust. Is that what you mean?
all my activities since I've been there are part of the
Yeah.
trust.
Right, that's fine. Right, but what I mean is, like, you didn't actually create a limited company. Let's just call it David Limited to be a
No, no,
trustee.
no,
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 nothing
no.
like that. Okay. All right. I just need to ask because there's people saying things, that you did. All right. And
Right.
we just need to make sure that you can say what is true,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
you can say what you did, and then people can see what you were trying to do. And obviously it's not very nice ending up, getting evicted for anything. So you never ever used anything, either a trustee or a settler or a beneficiary for a limited company. It was just you, the settler, your church friend who works with you on the YouTube. He was the trustee, which is very good. And then you had the beneficiary, which obviously yourself as the man. Yes.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. Um, But you've already mentioned this though. But what you're putting in the trust was your interest, not the bricks and mortar. You've never said that was yours. You didn't try to say
Right.
it was
That's
yours.
right.
You were just putting in your interest. Okay, hang on.
I also put my fictitious name into the trust because that's property, isn't it?
Well, it may be. I'm not really sure because to me, I mean, if I would never do that, like as saying it was my property, because the way I comprehend it, I could be wrong, by the way, just the way I feel that the surname especially belongs to them, doesn't it? That's the way I feel. I mean, I might
It
be
it
wrong.
it, it does, but because they haven't disclosed it to us, then we have first claim on that name, so we can reclaim that for ourselves.
Oh, okay then. Okay.
That's what I understand anyway.
Right. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. So when I've just checked all the emails that we've had between me and you, I've got them all saved. And when you first came on and were asking, I think it was like maybe June or something, maybe about like 2022 was the first email I got from you. And you were actually talking about a void order, something about France. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't really comprehend what that meant. I can only see a little bit of it there, and then you actually sent me some examples of a void order. Can you remember?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So what were you in France? Were you?
For 28 years.
Oh wow. Right. Okay. That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, I got married and had a child, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then after 8 years, we got divorced, and
So you
yeah,
stayed there for a while though after you got divorced, yeah?
yeah,
All right. So you decided it was time to come back to England.
yeah. I didn't have much choice, but that's another story.
Okay. Well, we'll not go into that today then. All right. Um, but you were talking about trying to like you wanted to know if you could appeal against a case with a void order in France. I don't really understand. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
that that's really a separate issue to what we're talking about today, the eviction.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm just saying it
um,
because I
ba- ba-
can't really find any much like information at all.
basically, a void order voids any activity that the state imposes on you. Yeah,
Ah, right. Okay. So that's right. It's just about the state. Ah, okay. All right then. All right. Well, let's get back to like recent events then. So when did I used to actually own property, so I used to rent it out to others. So I've kind of been there, although I did actually lose everything, include my own home, and we literally did end up like on a mattress, and that was it. But so when did you actually? I don't know if you fell out with your landlord or what you would say, but when did you actually get any? What do you get? Do you get like a solicitor's letter first, or do you get like some kind of like a summons or?
well, the first thing I got was I signed the new contract
Yeah.
with the wording all rights reserved, non-waived ever, because I couldn't agree to the new terms of the contract. And
Okay.
straight away, he gave me 2 months' notice. Yeah, he said I defaced the contract, and so therefore he's giving me 2 months' notice. Yeah, but that way of signing it, I've been told by a solicitor, is binding on the contract, and so we went ahead with the contract and everything. But that's another story, really, because we should have continued with the last contract and not the new contract. But
Okay.
I decided, well, I'll just continue with the new contract. We'll keep it all going until we get to court and we can get this sorted out.
Okay. And then so after the 2 months notice, then what happens? Do they have to serve like this? What is it called? A Section 21 or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, but basically it went for 6 months. There was another 4 months of notice, so I got 6 months of notice, and then a Section 21 was served.
Okay. And then Section 21.
Yeah, and
And is that when you go to court?
well, no, that's just the first part of it.
Okay.
That the first part is that's like giving me notice that I have to move out. Now, if I don't move out, then he goes to court for the second part of the 21, which means we go to court. Yeah.
And that's what
So
happened.
so so there's two parts. Now, nothing happened on that one. He didn't go to court. He didn't do the second part. He left it. We went to mediation sessions. Yes, he didn't turn up for the mediations, but he sent a legal representative to talk on his behalf. The legal representative said we were going to draw up a new contract and everything, and but that didn't turn out. So I insisted on a second mediation, which that didn't turn out, and a third mediation, and that didn't turn out. And then all went quiet for quite a while, up until a couple of months ago, when I got the another. He applied for another Section 21, so this is because the first one had expired. Yeah, but on this one, he went to court on it, and so I got evicted.
Okay. So how long was it then when it first started, when he did when you first signed it, all rights reserved, up until now? How long ago was that?
That's well, I signed that on I it was June 31st, 2022. Yeah. So basically, it was
Nearly a year
23
ago.
months, 23 months and a week from today,
2021 or 2022?
2022.
So like
Oh,
that's
hang on.
nearly
No, sorry. Yeah, 2021. Yeah, you're right.
2021. So nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now you so obviously you're not happy with the eviction. Now you want to actually appeal, which you are completely entitled to appeal.
Well, I did appeal, but it was rejected. Yeah. But it
But
went to the wrong authority because we're still not dealing with the chancery. Yeah. We're still dealing with the legal courts. Yeah. When I appealed to a legal court.
yeah. Well, what you've got to do is you've got to appeal to the appeal court, and what happens is eventually it's going to get
Well, it was the appeal court, but yeah, but they rejected it.
okay. All right. So really now, right? I mean, to actually go further, then you would have to go to like the Supreme Court, right? That's the way it works to go up the ladder. But I mean, you haven't got any money to do that, have you?
No, no. So you suggested that the chancery?
But you'll still not have any money to do that either, will you?
No, no. I mean, it's
So that's the
quite
thing,
crazy.
there's I'm not being funny, but they got rid of legal aid, right, years ago, so they could just mess us all up.
That's right. Yeah,
I mean, it's literally, I mean, you must be able to see it now that you have, if you want justice, then you have to pay for it. If you haven't got any money, you get
that's
nothing.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way around that. but I don't think there is a way around it.
I mean, at the end of the day,
Money talks.
yeah, and like unless you can pay for a solicitor to go and open, and you have to actually pay for the court itself as well, anyway. So you got to be careful, because a friend of mine has just lost a case, an appeal case. Now he has the costs are twice as much as what the fine was. So you're looking at nearly like the costs alone and everything. He's got nearly £100,000 he has to pay out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen. So and then that God knows what they're going to try and do to him then. So you got to try and think of that. So I mean, you're not working now, no?
No, I'm on universal credit, but I'm also on a self-employed scheme where I've got a year to get my self-employed situation up and running.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. So, I mean, what I'll do is, I mean, it's totally up to you, right? But you can come on tonight and like basically just, at least I've got information now so I can help people if they ask you questions or anything. And see if anyone else has got any ideas. I mean, to me, right, obviously I'm just talking about a financial situation, nothing else, that even if you did find money or anything like that, it would be better to try and get yourself like a new place to live rather than trying to get yourself all the way down to London. And I know you're probably closer than we are, like, to London, but to go to London and try and like file cases in Chancery, and then if they still don't find in your favor, then you've lost all that money anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or do you not think it would just be better off just trying to find somewhere else to live? I mean, in your situation there, obviously, I know you didn't have much furniture. I heard you talking on the video you sent me. You kindly shared with me. So you could get help from the council anyway, couldn't you, to find you somewhere else to live?
Well, they said I have
Permanently.
to. They said I have to find it myself, and they've given me the amount of that I'm allowed, and there's no way I'm going to find uh, an independent flat, no matter how small, for that amount of money.
Oh,
Or it would
okay.
be very surprising that I could find the prices now. I would need about £200 or £300 more than the allowance that they're giving me for to look for a flat to find somewhere
Okay.
independent.
Whereabouts do you live?
South Sea, Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. We used to go down to South Sea, down to the nightclubs in South Sea when I was based in Portsmouth when I was in the Royal Navy.
Ah, of course, yes. You were down here not too long ago.
Yeah, well, I picked the mouse up as well from Southampton as well.
You picked up what?
My dog, he's called Mouse
Oh, right, okay.
because he's little.
Right, okay.
All right, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I've actually got about 3 minutes now. I have to get on that other call. I'll message you back on Facebook again. We'll try and arrange for like for tonight.